So, hello, fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 64554637728. And Carlos Mencia. Carlos Mencia was on Tigerbelly today. Of course, with Bobby Lee and Khalyla. Nice couple, I guess, kinda. Anyway, my thoughts on Carlos Mencia. And Ned, I don't know what his last name is. So, like I said, I'm Earthling, yada yada yada, and I used to do gymnastics a long time ago. I used to do ballroom dancing. I used to be a reservist in the army. I used to do computer science. I have a major in that and an MBA. I've traveled a bit, and I've done a lot of interesting things. Anyway, Mind of Mencia. I liked Mind of Mencia, and then one day it just disappeared. It wasn't there anymore. And I guess at some point I would have gone looking to see what happened to this guy. Where did he disappear to? And I found out that he'd been accused of stealing jokes, and I was sad about it, I think. But when I saw that he was on Tigerbelly, I was like, oh, cool. I mean, I'm kind of trepidatious of what he's going to say on the show. But, so I said, hey, let me take a look at it. And throughout the show, one of the things that he repeated over and over was that, hey, he'd been accused of stealing jokes, and if people would just come forward, that he'd asked like a bunch of people, anybody that he had been told that he had stolen jokes from, he would go to that person and ask them, hey, did I steal your joke? And they would say, oh, no, not me. And he kept repeating that. And Khalyla would say, for example, she might say, well, maybe you didn't do it on purpose, maybe it wasn't a conscious thing, but if you would just apologize. And between what she was saying and what he was saying and what Bobby Lee was saying, there was some kind of confusion, because he kept maintaining that when he did his digging, he didn't find anybody who was saying that he had stolen their jokes. And he made the example. If you're accused of raping people, then you would want to know the people who it is that are accusing you. Anyway, I understood his perspective. I couldn't really understand Khalyla's perspective, because she was saying, there's a path to redemption for you. There's a way for you to get back what you lost. And I don't remember what Bobby's position was. I think he made a couple statements where he was like, well, there was definitely one about Bill Cosby. And Mencia was like, well, when I was told about that one, I cut it out of my piece. But I don't know. I'm not familiar with that Bill Cosby bit. So, what I kept hearing from Ned, what's his last name? I'm not certain, was that people were accusing him of stuff, but they weren't being specific. They were just throwing out these random accusations without bringing in the aggrieved parties. And I was really feeling for him, because I kept feeling like Khalyla wants him to admit to something when he feels like he didn't do anything wrong. To admit, hey, this is what happened. And he's like, but I didn't do anything. And then he went into, the idea of how much he has lost, how much it's affected him, how much that he's tried to stay positive, even though part of him is not positive. And yeah, But in the end, Khalyla was saying all you have to do is to admit, just apologize, even if you didn't do it on purpose. Just if you can apologize going forward, things are going to be better. But one of the great things that was revealed is how he actually helped Bobby, So all in all, I was like, hey, I don't know what happened. There's a video with him and Joe Rogan arguing on the internet. I don't recall exact details of it. So maybe there's just some confusion here. Maybe the whole thing is just one big misunderstanding, because this guy seems very, very credible that he didn't do what he's accused of doing. So, after listening in and seeing in the comments that some people have been like definitely 100% against the guy, I was like, okay, well, I have to go looking for the videos, that I have to go looking for the evidence to say what's what. Now, there was one video that I encountered where, it said Carlos Mencia owns himself on air. And I thought, okay, let's hear it. Now, the whole thing was fine. And I'm like, where is the part where he owns himself? And they're going and they're talking to him on a radio station, and everything is fine. I'm like, where is this part where he owns himself? Anyway, he makes a joke during the interaction with the host, and after he gets off of the talking with the host is like, that is the last time we're going to have him on this show, because that joke that he made is from a year ago. We know the people who came up with the joke. Everything about the joke is exactly the same thing. And I thought, well, maybe that's just what happens sometimes. You're on a TV show or a radio show, and you can't think of anything that's especially funny at the moment, so you just think of something, and unfortunately it's somebody else's stuff. And okay, I guess it's not really that fair if it's your profession. Yeah, if it's your job to talk, then I'm sure other people are not going to be, other people whose job it is to talk too and be funny, not going to be too pleased if you take something similar from them. Anyway, one of the things that I kept hearing was that he would steal jokes word for word from somebody else. And I thought, well, he has to have a really good memory to steal something word for word. Anyway, as it turns out, like water swirling round and round in a drain, I started to hear other people talking about it. So I heard other interviews, actually on Tigerbelly itself, from the year before, where people were talking about Mencia. And this other guy he brought up, I don't know this guy's name. Anyway, he was talking about how he had something happen to him similar, where somebody stole a joke from him, and he had a similar relationship as Bobby Lee had with Mencia. Mencia helped him a great deal, took him under his wing, kind of thing. And he was like, Bobby Lee was just flat out, yeah, he's stolen this joke or that joke or whatever. And I still was like, I have to go right to this video. I have to find this video with Joe Rogan talking to Carlos Mencia, because I'm hearing that this is something that Joe Rogan put together. He put together clips of, I guess, facts, of information. And So they show video of Mencia giving a joke that is allegedly stolen from this other person who they have up on stage. Mencia, Joe Rogan, the person who is saying that Mencia stole the joke from them, and they have the two clips of both of them doing the jokes. And I guess, to come on Mencia's side, to try to understand it from whatever way I can, to give him the benefit of the doubt. To me, the jokes are not exactly the same. They're not stolen word for word. The punchline is the same. He doesn't actually utter the punchline, but kinda, right? So I would say it's the same joke, but it's not exactly the same joke. I guess you could say it's pretty much the same joke. And I wish they had, I have to go looking for this, apparently some bit that was stolen from Bill Cosby, that Mencia stole from Bill Cosby. And there was a whole long interaction between Mencia and Joe Rogan on the stage. And then there was also Joe Rogan explaining what happened before you see the two of them on the stage, which is that somebody else was on the stage and Mencia came, I guess, and took the mic from that person. So it wasn't like Joe Rogan rushed up to the stage to confront Mencia. Mencia took over the stage that somebody else was performing on. And then, was it? Yeah, I think that's how it went. In other words, it wasn't what it looked like, that Joe Rogan ambushed him on stage. Mencia put himself on stage where he wasn't. And even though he's sitting down and he seems like he was there all the time and Joe Rogan came up, that wasn't what happened. The troubling thing for me at the end of the day was that here was clearly somebody on stage with Mencia saying that, yeah, you stole my joke. And Mencia said throughout his podcast on Tigerbelly that he has, talked to people who other people told him he had stolen their joke. And when he interacted with the person said, no, that didn't happen. He was on stage with somebody who was accusing him of stealing their joke. And on stage, what was actually happening was he was saying that he was doing a joke from before. He was questioning whether or not this Jewish guy had come up with a joke that was Mexican based, you could say. So for me personally, I was looking at evidence that was contradicting what Mencia was saying on the podcast. And even, in part of Joe Rogan's piece from his video that was posted 7 years ago, Bobby Lee started saying that Mencia had taken a bit from him, that he used to say that his father was so short that he would have to get on Bobby Lee's shoulders in order to go on the rides at amusement parks. And I guess during that time you could see that Bobby Lee was a lot younger. They were asking him, well, how does Mencia say it? And he was like, oh, okay, bye. I can't. No, bye. And then Joe Rogan is like, the reason why people can steal jokes is because people like you let him. They don't do what they're supposed to do and call him out for it. And I have heard that Steve Jobs used to do what is being presented as the same thing as Mencia, which is that he would listen to input from lots of other people and he would decry or mock somebody's idea, and then a week later, 2 weeks later, he would come back with the same idea. They would tell him, hey, that's my idea, and he would say, yeah, right, and not give them the credit for the idea. And I have to say that when I heard about that from Steve Jobs, I was like, not a nice person. When I listened to Mencia and how he talked, nowhere through any of this did I get the impression that he was just an out and out asshole. I do understand that he took other people's material. The exact same joke, word for word, no. But then I just got the impression overall that if Mencia was Joe Rogan or somebody else, it would not have ended his career. Meaning that if he were not a minority, people, they brought up the fact that Robin Williams stole jokes, which was something I had never heard before. And yet, Robin Williams was fine. Everybody loved him. But it said that, and Joe Rogan himself said it, that, he stole jokes. And yet he was fine. And we never heard anything about it, and it never destroyed his career. And yet that's what happened to Mencia. I don't know. I was hoping that it was exactly what Mencia had been saying, but it wasn't. It was closer maybe to what Khalyla and Bobby Lee and Joe Rogan were saying, but at the same time, I don't know that it was malicious or cut and dried or anything like that. But hey, that's how life is. So that's it for me. Feel free to like, dislike, comment, subscribe, look at more videos. I wanted to do a piece on the fact that I thought these coronavirus strains were kind of silly, but yeah. So please do unto me what you'd like to be done unto yourself. Have a good one. Peace.